Astronomers have made a shocking discovery in space that has left many wondering if it's a sign of the second coming of Jesus. Initial analysis suggests the possibility of a mysterious celestial event that defies all known laws of physics. Could this be the prophesied return of the Messiah? The world is waiting with bated breath for more information, and we are here to reveal that to you in this video. The recent appearance of Northern Lights. The sky put on a spectacular show this week, as the Northern Lights were visible far beyond their typical locations in Canada and Iceland. A severe geomagnetic storm caused the auroras, also known as the Northern Lights, to be seen as far south as Virginia, North Carolina, and even Arizona. Excited Twitter users from around the US and other parts of the world shared images of the brilliantly colored auroras on March 23rd, with many describing them as absolutely beautiful and unforgettable. Despite being a rare sight in these areas, the unusually strong storm was rated a level 4 out of 5 by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. It is predicted to cause the Northern Lights to make another appearance on Friday night. However, chances are they won't be as vivid or visible as they were on Thursday. The storm was the first G4 since 2017, and even experts were surprised by its strength. Bill Murtagh, program coordinator at NOAA's Space Weather Prediction Center, said, "A lot of variables come into play. It's difficult to get people spun up for the aurora because things often don't work out, much more often than they do." This isn't the first time. Earlier, also in 2015, Jesus' figure was spotted in a spectacular Northern Lights display. The heavens have put on a truly miraculous display, with a figure resembling Christ the Redeemer spotted amid a breathtaking Northern Lights show, captured in vibrant shades of red, green, and purple. The deity's head, shoulders, and outstretched arms were seen hovering in the sky above the Icelandic town of Akranes. Icelandic photographer Jon Hilmarsson, who was inspired by his 10-year-old son to take photos of the vivid skies, captured the stunning images. Jon spent hours traveling to different locations to capture the dazzling display on camera, describing it as the most beautiful and vivid Northern Light display he had ever seen. He also noted that while many people see the shape of Christ, some also see an angel formation. What happens if Jesus is really returning? The return of Jesus is a topic that has fascinated believers and non-believers alike for centuries. While there are many different ideas about what will happen in the aftermath of his return, some believe that Jesus will only stay for a short period of time before returning to heaven. Others believe he will destroy the earth completely, bringing about the world's end. However, Jesus' return is not the end of the planet Earth, but rather the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. Although Jesus didn't cover all the details of what will happen after his return, he did mention two significant events. There are certainly two events. Then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. In Matthew chapter 24, verse 30, Jesus reveals the first detail about what will happen after his return. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Despite coming as the ultimate liberator, Jesus will not be welcomed as such. Rather, he will be seen as a threat by most of the people of the earth. Before Jesus' return, the world will face a terrifying and destructive period of cosmic disturbances known as the Sixth Seal, or heavenly signs in the Bible. Revelation chapter 6 verse 13 describes the stars of heaven falling to the earth, likely referring to intense meteor showers. This will cause people to take shelter under the rocks and in caves in fear. When Jesus returns, people will be scared of anything coming from the sky, especially a being introduced by an ear-piercing noise and who looks unlike anything they have seen before. Most will not recognize him as Jesus Christ because he will not look like the traditional image portrayed in art and movies. Instead, he will not be the soft, long-haired, pale Jesus that our world associates with him. When Jesus returns, he will not look like the gentle, long-haired, pale figure depicted in art and movies. Instead, he will appear as a powerful, radiant spirit being, as described in Revelation chapter 1, verse 13 through 16, and chapter 19, verse 12 through 15. His appearance may be so unlike anything seen before that some may even mistake him for an alien invading from outer space. However, not everyone will greet him with awe and wonder. In fact, the book of Revelation describes a human effort to launch a military counterattack against him. The armies of the earth will join forces to make war against Christ as he rides on his horse. Revelation chapter 19 verse 19. But this futile attempt will end in their complete defeat as Jesus destroys their army and leaders. Verses 20 to 21. Despite his mission to bring liberation and peace, Jesus will have to fight against the nations first. Zechariah chapter 14 verse 3, Revelation chapter 19 verse 11. Only then can his reign of peace begin, and he will send his angels to gather together his elect. In Matthew chapter 24 verse 31, Jesus revealed a second detail about his return, and he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. This is a comforting thought for those who have put their faith in God, as Jesus descends from heaven. He'll be accompanied by an army of angels tasked with gathering all of God's faithful saints, no matter where they are in the world. This gathering will include all of God's faithful people, both those who have already died and those who are still alive. The Apostle Paul elaborates on this in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 16, saying, "The dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who remain alive shall be caught up with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air." This event is often referred to as the Rapture, and it is the moment of great hope for Christians who long to be reunited with their loved ones who have passed away. The two groups. Jesus provided two groups of people who would be gathered at his return. The first group is the dead in Christ, meaning God's faithful followers who have passed away. According to the Bible, the dead are unconscious and asleep in their graves. However, when Christ returns, they will be raised from their slumber and given new immortal spiritual bodies. This means they will no longer be subject to death and decay. The second group comprises those who survive or are protected from the Great Tribulation and are still alive when Christ returns. These living saints will also be transformed from flesh to spirit and rise into the air to meet the Lord. Both groups will meet Jesus in the air and be glorified together. Jesus gave a simple analogy to explain this event. Two people will be working together, one a Christian and the other an unbeliever. When the trumpet sounds, the Christian will rise to be changed and meet Christ, while the unbeliever will remain on earth. The reality of Christ's second coming is our world's greatest and only true hope. Jesus' statement of one will be taken and the other left has caused confusion among Christians, with some using these verses as proof of a secret rapture. The rapture theory states that Christians will disappear and be taken to heaven, leaving unbelievers to face the tribulation. However, this theory contradicts the context of Jesus' statement, as it refers to the coming of the Son of Man. After the tribulation, additionally, Jesus did not say that the taken ones would disappear into thin air and go to heaven. It is clear that when Jesus descends to earth, he will gather his saints from all over the world. Regardless of what they are doing, when the trumpet is sounded, they will be taken up into the clouds to meet the returning King. But after the saints meet Christ, they won't float in clouds or go to heaven. Instead, they will be with the Lord forever, ruling with him as kings and priests on earth. Christ's second coming will be the greatest transformation in human history, as he and his glorified family will lead the world to a place of peace and justice. Satan, the instigator of sin and suffering, will be banished for 1,000 years, and the world will be transformed into a new era of God's rule. The reality of Christ's second coming is the world's greatest and only true hope. What do you think of this shocking discovery of Jesus returning? Comment below and subscribe for more.